Welcome. Hello. How is everyone doing today? So glad you are here. Welcome to DHTV. My name is Bubba Gaddert. I am excited that you're here today because we have a very wonderful panel of guests, and we're talking about esports arenas here on DHTV, Building the Blueprint. We're going to have some fun guests from all sorts of different industry experts and different organizations. But hey, I'm Bubba Gaddert, your host. I get to be the esports ambassador for DNH, as well as an collegiate esports ambassador for Collegiate Esports Management Group and the executive director for Varsity Esports Foundation. But I'm going to bring in my guest. I'm going to make sure I get all the names right. And I'm just going to call one of them by their nickname because I would struggle with the rest of the name, just like my last name. But I'm going to introduce all three of them, and they're going to come in, and we're going to talk for a little bit. I'm glad you guys are here. We've got quite a few people in the chat. Let's check the numbers here. We've got over almost 60 people here watching, so thank you for being here today. Make sure you go to dnh.com/esports. Now, the and is not the ampersand. It's the letters A and D. So dnh.com/esports. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat in the question Q&A section of the platform. And we'll be answering questions as we go along. We'll have some polls. But all we've been waiting for is our special guest today. So from Generation Esports, we have the Director of Partnerships and Programs, which is Nemo. We also have from X-Rocker, as well as the Minnesota Esports Club, Peter Young, and the Head of Partnerships and Commercial at Belong Gaming Arenas, Wim Stocks. Hello, how are you, gentlemen?
Hello.
Good morning.
Doing
good
pretty
afternoon.
well. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good to be here with everybody.
Yeah. Thank you guys for being here. Now, we're going to jump into some fun stuff, making sure I check the questions and answers. And we're going to have some videos today. Today, we're really talking about esports arenas. If you've come to other events that DNH-TV and DNH Live and other webcasts that have been going on with DNH, we've talked about esports in schools and components and colleges and how you can help serve a community and a school with gaming and esport clubs. Today, we've got some experts, though, who have built arenas and built labs and been a part of the esports industry for quite some time, building it from the ground up. So I'm just going to jump into some questions. Wim, I'm going to go to you first. I would love to kind of get in a retrospect kind of vision of how you got into Belong Gaming, a little bit of history into Belong Gaming Arenas, and what drove you to that, to want to build these. And please tell me how many arenas it is now and how many it's going to be.
Yeah, thanks, Bubba. So I've been involved in the esports realm for just about as long as the dynamic has been. I've been in the game publishing business for most of my career, and last 12 years really devoted to competitive video gaming, engendering competitive events via any number of means. We used to run an online tournaments platform. It was the first toe in the water, so to speak. Ran a big collegiate organization, CSL. Everyone, I think if you're involved in collegiate esports, you've probably heard of CSL. I was the CEO and chairman of that entity. We bought CSL back in 2015 from young man Duran Parsi, who is now at Faceit, running collegiate events and activations on the Faceit platform. But we built. He had a nice run going around StarCraft 2 as the lever for getting schools to compete against one another. Started on a small scale on the West Coast, and once we were able to get our hands on it, we quickly grew it. Had over 1,800 schools involved, 10 different leagues. Worked with the publishers, worked with brands, partners. A big opportunity, and I don't want to pat ourselves on the back too much, but we did have a very foundational involvement and energy for collegiate esports that now is so pervasive, and momentum in that energy is just now amplified 100-fold. So So I left that organization after we sold to a private equity company that folded CSL into a traditional college sports MMR, multimedia rights. If you know what that is all about. So now that company, Playfly Sports, has both traditional sports MMR activities and missions, but also now esports as well. And I left to help Vindex bring Belong over to the U.S. Belong arenas. There are 28 of them already up and operating in the UK, and 3 new ones came online this year. In the U.S., our footprint will build to 300 arenas over the course of the next 3 years. We started in Texas. We have one open in Houston, one in Dallas. Phenomenally successful from a reception and an engagement perspective. The communities we're in have been hugely supportive and very interested in what we're doing. High schools and colleges are a big part of those activations. From here, in a couple of weeks, we open in Columbus, and that same weekend we'll also be opening in Nashville. So 2 coming online in proximity to one another, and then our third for the year. This will complete our year, 2021 anyway, for an arena in Schaumburg, western suburb of Chicago. So that's how it all came to be. We're having a lot of fun with these arenas. Again, a really good proof case in the UK that we've brought over to the US. A little bit differently positioned over here. These arenas are 2 to 3 times the size of the UK arenas. We've got pro team relationships. We've got colleges and high schools beating our doors down to come in and make use of the facilities because they generally don't have the kind of facility. We are all about a high performance environment, experience, and aesthetic. So we're embracing and helping schools and colleges as much as we can as we get into each of the markets.
Thanks, Wim. Yeah, I didn't know there was 28 over in the UK. That's pretty amazing. I need to bone up my information there. I'm going to jump in here with Peter. Peter Young from MEC, Minnesota Esports Club. I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey as well when we're talking about the spaces that you've created and the organizations you've been a part of. And we've got a video here a little bit later. We'll show that the news did for you. But can you give me a little history about the Minnesota Esports Club and where you guys are now and where you want to be?
Yeah. So our journey has been long and definitely hard fought. We actually started. I was a paraprofessional at Wayzata High School, and we had a program there. The kids knew I was into gaming, and they needed a staff supervisor to help lead that initiative. Long story short, we became the national champions for our League of Legends team for the 2018 Winter Open. And this is kind of what kickstarted everything. Those kids that later got that championship, 3 of them were offered full ride scholarships to Bethany Lutheran College in Mankato, Minnesota. And I approached school administration about this. I'm like, guys, we have kids getting scholarships. We are doing so much. How can we get them the support that they need? And we noticed that it was a very long track record to get anything moving, especially with a 6A school like Wayzata. It's just a huge program. They're very high focus on football. Long story short, we had then decided to create a nonprofit called Wayzata Esports Club. So we started by creating the nonprofit, trying to find support, sponsors, and stuff like that. And this is where we ran into X-Rocker. This is before I even worked at X-Rocker, and they've been awesome throughout this whole partnership. They had decided to help support our initiative in launching our arena in Plymouth, Minnesota. That's our headquarters. And we had then launched that arena. We were still Wayzata Esports Club at this time. We had our kids coming in every day after school. We actually had people bringing in their own PCs. I had brought my whole home office there. It was super brick and mortar, anything we could do to create a space for these kids. And then we started getting a lot of people asking surrounding areas, hey, we want to be a part of esports too. How do we get involved? For one, maybe their school wasn't supporting it or they just didn't have the reach in their area. And so then we started working with the community of Waconia. And then our first Parks and Rec hit us up. It was Prior Lake in Bemidji. So both of those Parks and Recs hit us up around a similar time period. And we had then decided that we need to expand beyond the mission of Wayzata and provide a solution for the entirety of Minnesota. So this is where Minnesota Esports Club was born. And what we do for them is we then, provide esports solutions for parks and recs, schools, community centers all across the state of Minnesota. And some to include our Bloomington Parks and Recreation, Woodbury Parks and Recreation, City of Prior Lake, City of Bemidji and Bemidji Parks and Recreation, Maple Grove Parks and Recreation, Plymouth Parks and Recreation, Phyllis Wheatley Community Center, and North High, who is also working with Phyllis Wheatley on that initiative. And through that, we are in the middle of launching a bunch of arenas, sourcing equipment for said arenas through some of our partners like X-Rocker and Bytespeed. We're also, going above and beyond to provide coaching staff, mentoring, content creation, all the resources they need to be successful. Our kids tend to be national state champions in the teams that they compete in. We have a plethora of trophies for Super Smash Brothers, League of Legends, Rainbow Six Siege, and Overwatch currently. And we also are the state champs for Call of Duty as well. So our team has really been going above and beyond. Our teams have been going above and beyond, regardless of the chapters that they're in, because they're getting the support that they need to be successful.
Love it.
To end this, one of the big things about that and why Minnesota Esports Club was important is because usually when a school program starts, it is it's one teacher who is the director of marketing, who is the head coach, who is the supervisor, the conflict resolutioner, like however you say that, like that. It's so hard for one person to do all that. And we know that we can find experts in their specific genres. We can find people who maybe aren't competitive, but are more on like a community management standpoint, and to support those kids in a plethora of ways. So, that's kind of, how, I got involved in there. And with my expertise in e-commerce and working in partnerships, in turn, this is where X-Rocker came involved, and they wanted me to be a part of that team and help lead those initiatives and take us to the next level in the esports and gaming space.
Yeah, that's great, Peter. I thought just going back, I thought growing up in Oklahoma, we had a lot of interesting town names. But I think Minnesota might have beaten Oklahoma on really cool. I'm sure that's Native American names like we have as well. And I'm sure we'll both have issues saying each other's cities' names. Nemo, with Generation Esports, you guys run High School Esports League, Middle School Esports League. You partner with NASIF. You partner with me at the Varsity Esports Foundation. I've seen some pretty cool stuff come out of what you guys have done in the sense of esport labs and those kind of spaces, if they're arenas or labs for the schools. I'd love to hear kind of what you experienced this summer when, if you guys don't know, Nemo spent some time in a RV and went all across the country. Tell us a little bit about that experience, and you can give us any dirt on Connor if you want to.
Lots of on Connor and his preferences on how he eats food in general and drinks coffee and consumes Red Bull in a very, very unhealthy amount. But what we, as Bubba stated, Generation Esports running the high school and middle school esports league to help support people who were in the education space like Peter. And then what I did over the course of 3 months is we partnered with the Army National Guard, Intel, and ASUS, and a few other partners, and we went across the country and built out esport labs and little miniature esports arenas at 25 different high schools across the country. It was a really great experience just going through and not only teaching kids how to build the computers to give them that educational piece and really have them involved in the making of this space that they're going to be contributing to this on a long-term plan, but also making sure that they had the accessibility to be able to do so. Every place that we went to was the Title I school where it was free, reduced lunch, and kids were in situations where they wanted to participate and were looking for a place where they'd be able to belong and be able to continue their club, but they just didn't have the access. This gives them that access to be able to participate in all the games they couldn't do before, and have that environment that we were able to go in and create. I do have a short video here that we did make in collaboration with Intel as well for this whole entire throughout this whole entire trip. Would love to just show that to you guys here.
Please. Yeah.
Nehemiah, our campaign program manager. So if something doesn't look right to you, don't hesitate to grab one of us or raise your hand.
One thing that's a huge barrier is the barrier to entry, and we wanted to be able to break that down. It's just going to be an opportunity for not just those kids, but for the whole entire community as a whole. Whether it be for esports, whether it be for coding, whether it be for video editing. So they're also getting a free year of HSEL. Along with that comes opportunities for scholarships and different avenues into the gaming sphere that they didn't even know that were probably there.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, yeah, Nemo, then
great.
we'll finish up here with any other information here. We're going to move on. But yeah, any other fun happenings in HSEL Generation Esports and when it comes to esports labs and arenas?
Yeah, just recently last week, with our partnership with Intel, we were able to go inside of a middle school and completely renovate their whole entire room. We did renovated 2 rooms so that way we could fit in their esports arena, gave them a mural with the Intel logo and branding, but also in collaboration with the school, so that way their mascot would be a part of it. And just the sheer excitement from the kids is kind of why I do what I do, and I just want to share that joy that's just pure joy that you can't get from anything else. Here we go.
Yeah, please.
Oh, yeah! Let's go!
I think they like Rocket League.
Yeah, I definitely think they love Rocket League, and they were super excited. But just the sheer amount of excitement from those kids and the impact that that we're going to have in a long and lasting form, that they're just going to be able to participate and contribute and be a part of their school as well. Developing that community within that school is a huge, exciting aspect.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Nemo. Yeah, if you're just tuning in, I know we got over 70 people here in the chat here watching along. We're here with our very good friends Nemo from Generation Esports, Wim Stocks from Belong Gaming Arenas, as well as Peter Young from X-Rocker Minnesota Esport Clubs. There's going to be a poll happening in the chat here in a minute. It's going to activate here in a second, and it's a question of, have you ever been inside an esports arena? So you can say yes or no to that. Make sure you fill out that poll. We'd love to know. If you have ever been in, it's a LAN center esports arena. You know, some people call it different things. Please answer yes or no, or if you've driven by one, for sure, check that box. I wanted to make sure if you are here and you have some questions for, I mean, first of all, now we know what experts we're talking to, right? We just heard about Wim, Peter, and Nemo and what they do in this space. And if you have questions, and you definitely don't have to put your answer in the questionnaire. You can click the actual button. But if you do have questions for any of these fine gentlemen who have expertise in the space, please do so in the Q&A, and we will try to get to those today. But I'm going to jump back in with Wim. Wim, now that you just drank some coffee, you're ready to go. Or is that coffee or is that water?
It was a nice warm cup of coffee. Thank you, Bubba.
There we go. You're welcome. Yes, I'd love to get some more expertise out of you. I'd love to squeeze the Wim Stocks rag and see what you got in you, because I think you have a lot to share and a lot of expertise in this space. And when it comes to what you're doing now with Belong Gaming Arenas, how do you work with partners and vendors, and how do you put all that together? I mean, what does it take? What kind of logistics are there to get something physical like that going?
Well, let me start with, and it's a great question, Bubba. Let me start with what really Belong is all about and what it stands for, because the word arena, which we use to describe what we're doing, is a bit of a misnomer. We use the word arena because at the core of what we're doing is competitive, meaning supporting competitive play in the arena, is really directed though to amateur, grassroots, developmental targets. And the idea that these are arenas around competition, because they're not big. The biggest arena we'll have is 15,000 square feet, roughly 100 to 120 gaming stations. At the gaming stations, a PC, a high-end PC. HP is our current partner. We have PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X's at all the stations. So you can see that these aren't really big audience kinds of arenas. They're very modular. We can roll the gaming stations apart. So when we do have a big viewing event, could be a watch party, could be an in-arena event going on, we can get more viewership in. But it's really intending, these arenas are meant for participation, and it's positioned as, these are positioned as community hubs within a marketplace. When we go into a market, we won't just have when we go into big market, we won't just have a single Belong arena. We'll have multiple arenas, a hub and spoke kind of model. All of these arenas are supported by and knitted together via bespoke platform. It's a community platform. It's a content platform. And it's a competitive platform that brings it all together. So what can start as a very hyper local community activation can build into a full market activation, can build into a regional, to a national, and even with our UK arenas can be international as well. So these are really meant to be the whole notion of, I grew up playing baseball, and 2 blocks away from my house, I'm 10 years old. I used to hang out every day at the baseball park, just this little thing. We didn't even have to mow it ourselves. Pardon me. But and we would not only play baseball, we would hang out there even when we weren't playing baseball. Those kinds of things don't exist for esports, and essentially is the infrastructure that we as the corporate entity Vindex is bringing to market, and specifically in Belong doing it via these community hubs that can grow and scale digitally, as well as being great venues for physical play and events and community nights and things on that order. So we are very appealing to brands who want to be involved and completely comfortable coming in. If they see a sponsorship opportunity or we portray a sponsorship opportunity, they know that we're going to be targeting 100% gaming. We'll do it in a very authentic way. There's just no two ways about that. Anybody who's coming into our arenas are serious about gaming. It might be competitive gaming, it might be social gaming. So in that way, the partnerships that we garner, both endemically and non-endemically, can be these brands and our partners can be absolutely certain we're hitting their targets right between the eyes. We also, I think you may or may not know, in these arenas, we also have a very curated retail section, and that retail section, we sell PlayStations, we sell Xboxes. We're getting a fair amount, even with the shortages. We're getting a nice number of PlayStations and Xboxes to sell, because these resources, Sony and Microsoft, recognize that we're addressing the very best of the very best gaming customers. They're the most engaged, they spend the most, and as a result, we are able to portray retail in a really good way, really authentic way, and it's after sitting in the arena and experiencing all the great equipment that our partners have provided us, that people can, players in our arenas coming in can immediately convert and take that great equipment home to take their Belong experience home with them. So that's the proposition. But I don't know if I answered your question specifically, but that's the setup for sure.
Yeah, thanks, Will. Thanks for engaging with all that information. If you're out there, I wanna check the poll real quick. We had about 80% of people have never been inside a LAN Center esports arena. So this is good that you're here learning about them, and you've seen some videos out there and you've seen some photos. I see a lot of questions in the chat actually that pertain to a lot of the previous. Sorry, Nemo, one sec. That retain to the previous kind of series we've done. In those, I'll let you answer one of these questions, Nemo. Sorry. If you need to see some of those previous shows, you can go to dnh.com/solutions lab. We've got all those on demand for you. We'd love for you to watch those. But there's also a certification course you can take. And Nemo, I would love for you to help me with seeing those questions while you're there.
I know I've been addressing those people directly and just pinging them as fast as they come. Some of them have been really, really great questions, like talking to the IT. I want to start off with Sandra, who was asking about talking to the IT people within schools. The biggest obstacle is creating that space. Most schools already have an established computer lab that does get locked up at the end of the day, that has proper power supply, that also has good internet connection for those rooms that they already have established. So you're not going to have to move into a different or separate room. You can just replace the computers that are currently inside of the computer lab with brand new ones or esports ready ones. And then that'll take care of a lot of the logistical issues that you may run into. Another thing that ends up happening with IT people or within schools or a framework of schools is where you will have to get a whitelist, so that way the ports on the games that you're playing, you're not going to get blocked by a firewall by your district or your school and getting past that. I know there's another one. There's quite a few that
We'll jump into them.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, Nemo. And seriously, if you guys are looking for resources, dnh.com/DHTV has a lot of these videos that we actually covered a lot of this actually with Connor from Generation Esports, other folks, people like Peter. They have resources here, which I think is interesting about the questions for schools, because in Peter, you're working in the community organizations with Parks and Recs, and a lot of these schools, if they may not have the opportunity to go and play in school, they could go in esports arenas like yours, right, Peter? Could you tell me more about the community and how you're getting them engaged?
Yeah, so actually right now, so a lot of the Parks and Recs right now, they are the ones that we're signing on currently and we're currently working on are planning on arenas for 2022, 2023 and stuff like that. And a big thing for that is the schools in their areas are usually working directly with Parks and Recs. They usually like send out information in their peach jars about like information, and that's just, you know, like a marketing thing that a lot of Parks and Recs do. They put them in their brochures and their pamphlets and stuff like that. So that's how they get the word out and work with the community in general, because these schools are associated with the same communities that these Parks and Recs are in. So they can work in tandem, where you can have a location, let's just say in Maple Grove, for example, right? And if Maple Grove High School doesn't have an esports lab, they can actually just use the esports lab at, you know, that Parks and Rec in that area. So it's something that they can really easily, you know, get a part of in that space as they continue to grow. So if they don't see that happening in their school, lean towards your local Parks and Recs and see if that's an initiative that they want to get into. Because I'll tell you right now, participation for primary Parks and Recs is very low for their normal recreational activities. And this is where they want to find new ways to engage with their community, and esports has been a really great option for that.
I love it. So, hey, if you don't know what we're talking about here, we're talking about esports. I'm gonna go ahead and we'd like to push out. Do you know how to actually write it correctly? I'm gonna push it out, George. I think I did it right. So if you don't know how to write esports correctly, here's an opportunity to learn. There's a little bit of gatekeeping in our industry, and we want you to know that there's opportunity to grow here and learn that we don't write it certain ways anymore. But it's okay if you do. We want you to learn and get on board and be engaged in this. Wim, I wanted to ask a little bit about when it comes. We dove in a little bit to partners and vendors. I actually love to jump into kind of the AV and audio video, kind of how all of it looks. I mean, what does it take? Who are you working with to be able to get these, esports arenas looking as clean as they do in the photos for Belong Gaming Arenas. What are you doing? What makes them look so good? AV, any of those opportunities there? Can you tell us about?
Sure. Well, first of all, the brand, really the look and the feel of an arena is a big part of the brand, and what we as Belong stand for. Belong as a word is a perfect embodiment of what we stand for in terms of inclusion, diversity, accessibility. We want anybody interested in gaming to feel comfortable in our environments, and again, it's not just around competitive gaming, but social gaming is a big part of how our audiences want to entertain themselves, how they interact with their friends and their families. So the name Belong, a big part of our brand, obviously, and as well as the experience that one has once in the arena, and the equipment. First of all, the design of that was all accomplished in the UK by a great agency that we work closely with and continue to work closely with. But that design was essentially as you see it when it was first introduced 4 years ago. With some nuances again from as we opened in the US, but by and large that experience and that aesthetic is a really big part of our brand and what we stand for. So we'll persevere with us, and we'll continue to grow and evolve. The equipment that we so there's the design, then there's the equipment. When we first opened these and started the rollout in the US, we issued RFPs for interested parties for key categories like PCs, like chairs, like accessories, even apparel. Was part of how we approached finding our partners and building up around our brand and our aesthetic and experience. So that we, and as I mentioned, we have great partners in all of those categories as we speak. And then really the notion of these, I appreciate the comment, Bubba. They are clean. They're beautifully designed and maintained. But the operations, that's a whole nother layer that we've been very exacting on. We've hired the very best people who understand gaming, who know this combination of both experiential as well as retail. That experiential retail is a big part of our DNA. So our staffing, I've heard nothing but in the various arenas that we're not only that are open, but that we will be opening. I've heard nothing but amazing comments about the support that our staff is providing. They're friendly, they're helpful. There's no intimidation when somebody walks into to the arena. Again, part and parcel to what our brand is and what it is we are standing for. So it is there's a lot of different sources and resources that come to bear on bringing one of these to life. In this these are difficult enough, complex enough in a normal time to open, but as everyone's aware, if you're involved in any of this kind of thing, supply chain being what it is, labor shortages being what they are, these are nearly impossible to get open. Yet because of our great partnerships with our resources, our equipment providers, our materials providers, we're able to get these open in a very, very difficult time. We have one arena that was held up a little bit because we had monitors and sitting on boats in LA Harbor. As there's any of you waiting for your Christmas deliveries are probably on the boats right outside San Pedro Harbor in Los Angeles. But we are getting through all this with some good planning and some really good logistical navigation that our partners are doing. So hopefully that was the right answer you're looking for, answer the right question, Bubba. But it's been a tremendous coming together of everyone from all walks to not only to get these prepped and ready to go, but once they're open to keep them going into top shape. Yeah.
Thank you, Wim. Peter, I'm going to come to you here in a minute about streaming and lights and and how to make esports arenas look great like you do. I want to throw out the results here for how to correctly write esports. I think I saw about 60% with the middle one with a capital S. Well, that's okay. I also want to touch that we don't use the word e-gaming. This is another way that we can grow in learning. We call it gaming or esports, and we use a lowercase e in a sentence and a capital E on the E in the title or at the beginning of a sentence, just like normal AP guidelines. So if you're in that space, if you're coming in this space, definitely use that kind of language, that kind of writing, because you will be taken a little bit more seriously as well. I wanted to jump in as well with Peter and ask audio, visual, streaming. What does it take? What are these people out here, these vendors, these resellers? What do they need to know about what they should provide an esports arena when it comes to audio, visual? What is streaming? First of all, maybe people don't know what that is. Can you elaborate a little bit on that for us, Peter?
Yeah. So before I did all this stuff, when I was fresh in college, I was actually streaming full time on Twitch. It's what I do. It's kind of why I have a setup similar to what I have here. I think content creation is really important to have high quality if you really want to be taken seriously as a content creator and grow. But there's a lot of people who don't. There's some guys who just stream and have the game on, and because they're so excellent at the game that they're able to do that. They're able to get people to watch their content. So it really depends on the type of content that you're trying to provide. I know people that can stream Barbie's Dream House and get 1 million viewers. Like, it literally happens. It doesn't matter what you actually are playing 100%, as long as you are providing community. As for when it comes to what type of equipment is involved with that, you need a stereo microphone to have high quality content. You're going to want some studio headphones. You're going to want audio interface that can support your headphones and your microphone. And then there's a few options when it comes to like webcams and stuff like that. I would recommend for like a starting setup, like definitely like the Logitech C920 or the C922. And then when it comes to like getting like high quality, like if you want like some really good high quality content in general, I would recommend a DSLR, something with a really good lens that can get the perfect aperture right, where like if you want to like blur out your background more and have you as the focus and very high depth, DSLRs really give you that quality to do that. And I would recommend Canon because they have a EOS web utility that works directly with open broadcast software. It works with like any like meetings and stuff like that. So like I'm using a DSLR right now, and I'm able to use this for Google Meets, Teams, Zoom, all that. And on top of that, I'm able to create content if I want to as well. So I think that's really awesome. And if people are looking to like get into that equipment, being able to be a high quality provider for a good cost, I think you'll get a lot of people that are interested in that space when it comes to that. And then I think being comfy is also important too. So these X-Rocker chairs are pretty awesome, and if you guys want to see more about our furniture, check out xrockergaming.com, and you guys will see a lot of our cool furniture there that will help support that experience as well.
Love it. Nemo, in this space, we're talking about the engagement with students and the engagement with adults that may not understand why and what is happening. Maybe they look at a screen. What are some tips you can give? Maybe there's probably parents out there. We've got a lot of people in the chat. There's probably some parents out there. What are some common conversations you're hearing when it comes to parents and hopefully this will translate to the people watching, that how can you engage with your own student or your child, or maybe support the gaming ecosystem by, what does it take to be a little more engaged with your own kids? I know you're young, you don't have kids yet, probably got a dog or something, but you got a dog?
No,
get a dog.
not anymore.
Get a dog.
Not anymore.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you just brought up a sore spot.
Oh wow,
No,
I brought that up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so when it comes to just engaging with a community, it's one, and especially with adults, it's one, letting them see that there's a value to esports beyond just sitting in front of the screen and playing games, that there are opportunities beyond just being the gamer and professional and the person who's on screen being a content creator or being a person who's a streamer. One thing that we always try and make sure that people understand is that behind every content creator that's really big, there's like 10 people behind them with jobs and opportunities that were created beyond that. I mean, just look at this panel here. All of us are within the esports and gaming industry, but none of us are really like streamers or content. Well, Peter is, but we're not.
I was gonna say, watch it.
Well, we're not first and foremost streamers and content creators. We do things within the esports community that doesn't have to really do with content creation. And that's something that you just have to show that value that whatever job is out there, that the kids can be a part of that. And when it comes to even relating that back into a lab, an esports lab, or even an arena, it's always important to just go with your kids. Just go with your kids to have fun and just find a game where you guys can play, even if it's really, really old. One thing that my parents don't understand this. They're also immigrants, and they came from Nigeria. But my dad is really, really good at Pong, and he will obliterate everyone in the house. And so when I go home this Thanksgiving, I will prepare myself to either beat him or get beat a million times, and that just helps that connection and build that value. And you can do that through game nights with your kids, through participation nights, and you have singular settings or places you can go to really come together and have that community.
Love it. Love it. I'm putting something in the chat for everyone. I hope you see. There is a little bit of information out there on which builds onto what we're trying to accomplish here in gaming esports, knowing that there's X amount of schools, X amount of gaming centers, esports arenas, labs out there that, looking at the poll question earlier, not a lot of people have driven past them, but I see three folks here on the call here or who are creating these spaces for adults, for students. So there's going to be another poll question here, which I really love to make sure we get out. Is anyone out there helping K-12 schools or colleges start esport programs? Yes, no, not yet, but plan to. Please feel free to answer that in the chat as well, or I'm sorry, on the poll question. Okay. Let's have some fun here for a minute while we're answering that. Let's start with Peter.
Do I get to answer?
Yes, you get to answer. It'll be fun.
On the poll?
Peter, no. While everybody's taking the poll, I'm going to ask you guys some fun questions here. Peter, what is your favorite video game?
Okay.
What are you thinking, Nemo and Wim?
So, my guilty pleasure is old school RuneScape. I love RuneScape. I play every day. It's something I can have on the side and still do answer emails, whatever. It's really nice to to have. But I do play fighting games. I actively practice in Dragon Ball FighterZ. I play a lot of Guilty Gear and the new Melty Blood as well. So a lot of fighting games. I actually got my fight stick right here that my buddy Kizzy K got for me. It's a Kwamba Dragon. I absolutely love this thing. It's very heavy and heavy duty.
Explain what that is to people, because it's a little dark to see. Explain what that is.
So this is an arcade stick, and
turn it sideways.
Turn it sideways like this.
There you go. Just trying to get the profile of it. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
That's good.
But yeah, I have a lot of stickers on it. But anyways, long story short is it's an arcade stick that makes fighting games more fun, in my opinion, depending on what you like. And a lot of people who've been playing fighting games since they came out, like the original Street Fighters, they started on these, going to arcades and stuff like that. And now it's like a standard for most professional fighting game players. They usually play that on an arcade stick as well. So like I said, my favorite is old school RuneScape, if that vibes with anybody. But I do actively compete in fighting games.
Peter, it vibes with a lot of teenagers. I'm just gonna throw that out, bud.
Yeah.
I never got onto RuneScape. I wasn't cool enough. Wim, what you got any video games you like playing? You ever played certain video games back in the day, or anything new?
Well, probably my favorite video game is one we published. I don't know if anybody remembers the developer Oddworld. and Abe's Odyssey. There was a not just a trilogy. There were 5 in the series around Abe's Odyssey. Fantastic story. I think won awards. This is now. I'm trying to remember the timing. This would have been 98, 99. So this is turn of the century in reverse. But a great, a really fantastic development house in San Luis Obispo, and just a really culty, great story. Very really needed to use your wits to complete the story and complete the path. So that was my favorite. I'll still play FIFA. And really old school, I still play pinball. So we're going back a ways. My dad used to have pinball machines in our basement, and I used to, by the time I was eight, I could take them apart and put them back together again. So still looking for old school Gottlieb. If anybody has access to a Gottlieb machine, they were the ultimate in pinball experience, and they're very, very hard to find. They're not made anymore. So if anybody has one out there, I'm a buyer.
Nice. So PlayStation 1, 1997, Oddworld. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. I feel like I've seen that cover. Maybe when I went to Blockbuster back in the day, you could go and rent games still. I've seen that cover. A really interesting little character on the cover of that. So yeah, that's fun. That's fun. Okay, Nemo. I think I already know. I think I've asked this question recently, but what was your favorite game?
So I just want to let you know, Bubba, Peter didn't know he did this, but he threw down the gauntlet. We're going to stream Dragon Ball Fighters between me and Peter. So yeah, I'm a fighting game player. I'm also a huge MOBA fan with League of Legends as well. It's when I play League of Legends like every other day. Me and my college buddies can constantly queue up and play 5v5s against other teams, and we compete in tournaments. I also individually used to compete in fighting game tournaments. I competed in Dragon Ball Fighters tournaments, won a couple, lost a lot. But yeah, I've always been a fighting game player since I was little. Marvel vs. Capcom, from the second one on, I've always competed in those. Tekken, I loved those. I always play the same character over and over. But Dragon Ball Fighters and League of Legends.
Tekken?
Oh, I'm a Steve player. I just love. I had something about just being able to. What? You're leaving the call? Just something about just the fact that he doesn't have kicks, and I can just still abuse people with the dodges. Is something really fun about that.
Wow. We're all a bunch of nerds. We're claiming it. We love it. Hey, if you're out there watching right now, you're coming in or you're looking for more questions to be answered, we're answering some of them in the chat or in the Q&A. Also, we've covered a lot of different stuff this year when it comes to how to engage with a school, engage with a community center, engage with esports arenas. Today, on our previous sessions, please go to dnh.com/DHTV. Or you can also go to dnh.com/solutionslab. There, if you refresh, I believe later there's going to be some links in this broadcast that are there on the page, is what I was told. If you're asking some questions about that, some of our staff is answering, but we want you to know this information. That's why we built a big resource catalog at dnh.com/esports. Any of those work? Okay, let's wrap up here a little bit. I did see the poll come in. Got a pretty equal here. Do you help K-12 schools start college or esport programs? Colleges start esport programs. Some yes, some no, but not yet plan to. You're in the right place to learn about this and learn what it takes. Because I do want to kind of jump into the college space a little bit here. If you guys have any experience in the college space of helping with, I know Wim, you have tons of experience in the college space when it comes to CSL. What did you see in the past with CSL and other orgs when it comes to colleges? I mean, you guys really were kind of the pioneers for, 1,800 schools. I remember hearing about that from Neil long ago when you guys started. What was happening? What was happening then? How did it just expand and grow so much in the college space?
It was the right proposition at the right time. Our programming, we were referred to a lot as we were getting our momentum and growing. We were referred to a lot as the NCAA of collegiate esports, and that was just the opposite of what we wanted to be. We wanted to be the anti-NCAA of collegiate esports. And by that, I mean, you think about NCAA, they're dealing with the athletic departments in a particular college around traditional sports. But for us, the athletic departments were the least involved in most of the activations and activities. These were, as I mentioned earlier, student life programs were funding a lot of these very, very early esports team events and student events, STEM programs, STEAM programs, providing support, computer science labs as well, getting involved. Even the business schools were more involved in esports than the athletic departments were, and that pretty much continues today. As everybody knows, in a collegiate environment, the athletic departments and the big sports, the football programs, the basketball programs are really the money makers for a college. Most of the big schools, you're a Power 5 college or university, you're being driven by the revenues around your football and your basketball program. What's the phrase? Football makes money, basketball sort of breaks even, but that money is being made, though, does fund the college and the operations of the college. So in our reach, it was a much broader reach. We didn't care where an esports club or team came from. We wanted them to participate, and I think that had a lot to do with how quickly we grew. And also, timing was perfect. Schools starting to see how important gaming was to their students that are coming in from high schools. It's not a hobby anymore. It's really a lifestyle and part of their culture. So that was we were also riding a really good bit of timing to accelerate the growth and the footprint we had built there. And in Belong, we did everything we did at CSL was online. Now I have the great fortune of having collegiate is a big target for us, but it is not only a digital play, it's also a physical play now. We have, as I mentioned, we have that great amalgam and blend of digital experience that knits together all the physical experiences, and that is a big part. Colleges we get into a market we're talking to in Houston. We have a great partnership with the University of Houston, with Lone Star College. We've had events with Rice, with Wharton, a little community college not far from the arena in Houston. So those are big targets for us, and the great news is that because they don't have facilities, they don't have the wherewithal, they don't have the resources, they don't have the operational support to have a facility, they are using ours and coming in. We're being very friendly. We're providing massive discounts and team support opportunities as a result of that. So colleges, it's still it's getting even bigger. As everybody knows, I think there are at least 7 or 8 big collegiate esports organizations now in the United States. Canada even has one, even though the collegiate scene in Canada is not at all the same dynamic as it is in the U.S. So in any event, the college is a great place, and so great to see the schools embracing it, the faculties, the administration now understanding the importance of this to the students that are attending their respective schools.
Yeah, it's a Canada and the United Kingdom. It's funny to hear them say, "You guys do scholarships? Tell us more about scholarships." It's always funny to understand the difference we have in the States here and how much of our student loans are crushing us when other countries, like, what are scholarships? We just pay for our kids. There's another poll going up in the chat here as well. Make sure you answer that, and we'll see any more information. Wim, that was great stuff. Peter, I do want to finish up strong here with a great clip that you have, Peter, that's in the chat about what's happening in your space, and then we'll finish up with Nemo and Wim, and we'll be done here shortly. So if you want to talk that clip up and go ahead and play it. I'll play it. I think I'm going to be able to hit it.
Thank you.
Communities That Care celebrates change makers and programs to brighten lives. And we're heading to Bloomington, where Parks and Rec is leveling up with esports.
Sometimes a child's passion isn't found on the gridiron or the soccer field. It's here, inside a virtual battleground.
So we want to make sure we have something for everyone.
With the pandemic came the dawn of a new era for Bloomington's parks and recreation. The Project Play initiative added 24 new opportunities to keep people active, thanks to funding from the Hennepin County CARES Act.
And one of the opportunities that we had was to connect with esports and be able to offer that, and that's something we've never done before.
Parks and Rec teamed up with Minnesota Esports Club on a quest to open up a new world to local kids. Executive Director Peter Young says young gamers develop discipline and social skills.
These people step up and to become leaders and really just be a part of their community. I have seen kids go from not even thinking about college to getting full ride scholarships to Bethany Lutheran College. Esports in general provides an opportunity and waves for people to really open up doors that they never thought were possible.
The future is bright and potentially lucrative.
Just the blow up of Twitch and streaming platforms, and then the fact that there's so much money involved with it.
And some tournaments have a prize payout of up to $40 million.
That's some serious scratch.
It all has to start somewhere. Someone needs to help develop those skills, and that's where Project Play and Minnesota Esports Club come into play.
It's just natural that we should be, helping out and supporting that from a Parks and Rec standpoint.
Awesome. Thank you for that video. Peter, I'm going to let you finish up here for your last part, and then we'll go to Wim and Nemo. Any last bit of information? And first of all, I went to your website, like the gaming bunk bed with a desk. That's what's up, man.
Hey, that's our bestseller right now, man. It's killing it. The battle bunk, man. Don't sleep on it. Or actually sleep on it and play underneath it. Right? Literally
nice
sleep
puns.
on it.
Yes. All right. So give me some last bit of info about you.
I got you. So, hey, man, if anyone wants to contact me regarding anything X-Rocker related or just information about esports, you can reach out to me at pyoung@acecasual.com. We really would love to work with you in any way, shape, or form to provide equipment for your space, and appreciate your time here today.
Excellent. Thank you, Peter. Nemo, what's some stuff we need to know about in this space and that you are an expert at? We've learned a lot, but I want to hear a little bit more.
So for sure, we are going to be launching, Generation Esports is launching its completely owned collegiate league next year. We're also going to be we are going to be building computer labs in 40 different schools, 25 high schools, 10 middle schools, and 5 colleges across the country in 2022. And definitely going to be wanting to collaborate with both Peter and Wim to really make these projects pop as well. And we're going to be making sure to just really expand and just grow not only in building esports labs, but also the curriculum that we're going to be hosting for these schools. So they're going to be able to grow with all of the gaming concepts and everything that we've talked about here and more. That's Generation Esports. And if you do ever want to learn more, don't hesitate to email me, hit me up on LinkedIn, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Awesome. Thanks, Nemo.
Can't wait to have a conversation with you. We got some great overlap and intersections here.
100%. Same here.
Love it. Collab, guys. That's what we're talking about. This space is small, but we all love working with each other. And Wim, let's wrap up with you. Takes a dream work. Wim, last bit of information we can hear from you, from the expert that you are.
Everybody keep on gaming. Let's all support this unbelievable dynamic we're involved in the best possible way. Bubba, I appreciated your comment about simple things like how you spell esports and the use of it. I'm a big believer in that kind of stuff, and it will engender more understanding and more appreciation for what it is we're all about. So I've been so fortunate to have a career in gaming and esports. I've been doing this for over 30 years now, and esports has changed. Not only has it changed gaming, I've said this a number of times. It's changed the world, and how everybody thinks about gaming, how the stigmas that used to apply to gaming have essentially evaporated because of esports. People now see, okay, that you can build a career. And you don't have to be a player to have a career in esports. You can be a caster, you can be a marketer, you can be an analyst. So it's a really great space we're in. We have to treat it with the proper respect. We've got to support it properly, and a forum like this and a session like this is exactly what's needed to continue to build awareness, build the presence for what it is we're all doing, and this notion of infrastructure. What we're all doing to build infrastructure just will make the space bigger and better. So my 2 cents on final thoughts. Anyway.
Awesome. Thank you, Wim. Well, we're wrapping up here. Thank you. We had close to 100 different people in. We had about 80 at one time. Lots of information shared. You'll be able to see this recap, this video, this actual rebroadcast on dnh.com/solution labs. In about 24 hours, it'll be posted. That's dnh.com/solutions lab. You can also go to dnh.com/esports. If you have questions, you want to really talk to somebody, you can see the email and contact information on the page you're on right now for the great people on the panel today, as well as you can email esports@dnh.com. That last poll question about certification, you can find that certification for you. You actually get a discount if you're a partner with D&H to take that course. It's half off, and you can get certified to go into a school or facility and say, look, I got my badge. I'm a certified esports specialist provider. Thank you guys for being here. Wim, Nemo, Peter, I really appreciate you guys. It has been wonderful to chat. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for a great job hosting.
Thank you, Bubba.
Of course, my pleasure.
Thanks, D&H, too. Thanks to D&H.
I hope to keep working with you guys some more. Everybody, see you later. This has been D&H TV. I've been your host, and I'm going to be back some other time later, I'm sure, and we'll have some more fun on D&H TV. Bye.